and then we're going to get started.
Do I have a paper?
All right.
Where's that paper?
Here we go. And here we are live. Amazing.
Got it.
Terrific. So, hey everybody.
No, we have David now.
I'm going to go into speaker view. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight myself. I'm going to go and spotlight Dave Levinson. And I'm going to go ahead and spotlight Moira Adams. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the camera because I'm not leaving services right here. Moira, Barbara, and I are here at Hadash. We are outside and we are testing a little bit of our AV equipment tonight, shooting our service from outside on the patio. So can I ask a little bit of so I realize that I do not have access to the chat on YouTube, but I can if I pull it up on my phone. Look at that.
Excuse me.
You know, back when I was in rabbinical school, the idea of a rabbi pulling out their phone at the beginning of a service was maybe one of the tackiest things a person could imagine.
Yep,
And now it's just something that I do because it's the way we're connecting to each other. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Everyone who's here on Zoom, everyone who's here on YouTube Live. We have one person who has special permission to be here in person with us because he's on a little bit of screen rest following a concussion. And so gets a little VIP pass here, a very injured person, VIP, and is about to be here because he's on a screen break. And it is just so awesome to be here with members of our Prozdor class who are going to be presenting for us on, who are going to be presenting for us via some video share, and it is just so great to all be here together tonight in all of the different ways that we're together, whether we're sitting in our living room, whether we're sitting on this porch, whether we see each other on Zoom, whether we write in the chat on YouTube. So take a second and wherever you are, introduce yourself in the chat. What's your name? Where are you zooming in from today or joining us from today? What brings you to this service? As Dave takes it away with a little opening song.
Yeah, you the right song, everything, where you only the fire. Yeah, you the right song, everything, where you only the fire. I don't like to read, I don't like to read, I don't like to read it go out. I don't like to read, I don't like to read, I don't like to read it go out. Yeah, you the right song, everything, where you wanna be from there. Yeah, you the right song, everything, where you wanna be from there. I don't like to read, I don't like to read, I don't like to read it go out. I don't like to read, I don't like to read, I don't like to read it go out.
Shabbat Shalom. Can I get a quick check in the chat because we are trying out a new sound configuration. Are you hearing feedback from the microphones? Is the sound coming through well? can you perhaps not hear it all? Someone mentioned in the, perfect. Someone mentioned in the chat on YouTube Live they were having some trouble hearing. I just want to check and see what it sounds like. And it sounds like to me also that it sounds like it's not just the three of us here, me, you, and Dave. There's someone else here, Maura Barbara, at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Who's that with us, and what is he doing here today?
Hello, everyone. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you Maura Adam Cooper-Smith. So by day or by week, Maura Cooper-Smith, Maura Adam, is a teacher at the Woodland School. And on the weekends, he helps our teens connect to their Judaism in the Prozdor class. And they've been having a lot of really provocative discussions this year. And Maura Adam is going to tell you about just one of them. So, Adam, it's my pleasure to introduce you to tell us about your class and what they've been learning and what we're going to see this evening.
Thank you, Maura Barbara. Hi, everybody. I have someone joining us. No? Okay. So our class.
Hi, Micah Cooper-Smith.
Yeah, here he is. You want to say hi?
Hi,
Micah.
Hello there.
Hi. So we have been doing a lot of moral discussion in our class, and when we looked at this week's Torah portion, which talks about the story of God giving Jews farmland and outlining very specific guidelines for how to be successful farmers, responsible landowners. We use that idea of kind of letting this land, which was leased land essentially, letting it rest every so often, and giving others portions of our labor's harvest as kind of a parallel to that Jewish value of not taking personal credit for that which is good, noticing the tangible and the intangible gifts that we were given, and showing our gratitude by naming the ways specifically that we can pay those gifts forward. And the students have put together some short videos where they've done just that with a small handful of people in their lives.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. And so we're going to turn in our Siddur to the beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat on page 9. I know we're swapping an order of two different things. Don't worry. We're going to go to Lecha Dodi on page 9 as together we greet the Shabbat bride. And we enter into this theme that our Prozdor class is going to take us through of giving back, of acknowledging the gifts we've been given and how we paid them forward. But first we welcome that most precious gift of all, that gift of rest, that gift of Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, page 9.
Okay. 1 second. Here we go.
ourselves facing outwards towards one another as we greet the Shabbat bride. Boi So there is a story told, not by Sholem Alechem, not by the Baal Shem Tov, but by the great, not so Jewish folk tale teller, O. Henry. See what I did there?
Oh, Henry.
O.
Oi.
Henry. He's a good one. Of a couple. I don't recall what O. Henry called them in the original story, but like all good folk tales, the names change with the context in which the story is being told. So let's call them Shmuley and Victoria, shall we? So Shmuley and Victoria. Yessel and Janet? Shmuley and Victoria were a couple like many other couples. And they had fallen on hard times, and a holiday was coming. And Shmuley and Victoria loved each other very, very much. But they knew that after this season with so much hardship, they didn't really have a lot of money to be purchasing big, extravagant gifts. But they knew that this holiday was a special time. And so they each wanted to do something special for the other. Shmuley had a watch. It was passed down from his father to his father, from his grandfather, and to his grandfather, from his great-grandmother, and from his great-grandmother, from his great-great-grandma's cousin's uncle. And it had been in the family for generations. And both men and women and folks of non-binary genders for generations. And Shmuley loved this pocket watch. But there was a problem. He would often leave it places and have to come back, not realizing he'd left it. He was worried that he was always concerned he would get it lost. And so even though he loved carrying it with him from place to place, he started leaving it at home, because how could they ever afford such a pocket watch? And how could this pocket watch ever, to replace it? And how could this pocket watch ever be replaced anyway, a family heirloom such as this? And so Victoria knew that what she wanted to get for Shmuley for this very special holiday they had coming up was a gold chain for this beautiful pocket watch. Because even though no gift could possibly express the love they felt for one another, she really wanted to do something in this really difficult year to make him feel special. And so she had her heart set on this gift. But how would she ever afford such a thing? And so with gratitude in our hearts for all of the things that we have been given in our lives, and all we want to do in our hearts to give back to those who've given them to us, those precious gifts, we pause in our story and we hear a testimony of gratitude.
Hello. Thank you to my brother for teaching me the value of trying new things. Without him, I wouldn't have even started karate. He dragged me around the entire time we were looking for a dojo, and I was roped into trying it out with him. And now I've been doing karate for 7 years with him. I will attempt to give back by trying to get other people to try new things as well. Thank you to my 5th grade ELA teacher for teaching me the value of learning things through repetition and practicing the same thing to improve. Throughout the entire year, we wrote so many text-dependent analyses that I could probably write one in my sleep. This is most likely the point of it. For practicing writing PDAs so much, it became really easy for a lot of kids in my class, which is helpful for things like PSSAs, in which you have to know how to write one. I will give back by continuing to practice things through repetition and sharing that method with other people that might be struggling to remember something. Thank you to my karate instructor for teaching me the value of being or just sounding confident, even when I'm not feeling particularly confident. He always tells us before tournaments and tests that even if you mess up and do a wrong strike or kick, as long as you look confident while doing it, no one watching except the judges will notice, and if you put power into it and don't let it mess up the rest of what you're doing, they probably won't even take off many points. I will try to give back by being and sounding as confident as I can, no matter the situation, and hopefully inspiring other people to try to stay confident as well. And finally, thank you to the random stranger who worked at Sam Ash Music Store who was very helpful in figuring out which would be the best violin for me, which I still have today. He taught me the value of really, thinking through your options before making a decision. I'll try to give back by continuing to play my violin and recommending people to go to Sam Ash.
Awesome. Thanks, Sherry. We rise in spirit or in body for As We Bless and Baruch Hu, page 10.
As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our vision clear, and the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed.
Adonai, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro b'nei b'cha. Creator of sunrise and sunset, you turn day into night and the night into morning, dividing day from the night, so no time is like another. 1,000 starlights write your name in the heavens. Source of life, be with us in the dark, now and always. And we roll into dark. Mari Baravim.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei Yom V'Layla, Borei Yom Mipnei Hoshem. Leon Mipnei Hoshem, Hoshem Mipnei. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Go Borei Yom V'Layla, Borei Yom Mipnei Hoshem. Go Leon Mipnei Hoshem, Hoshem Mipnei.
Baruch atah Adonai Amahari Varavi. And thank you so much, Maura. Carolyn, Della, and Jim Young are the characters in the O. Henry story. I think that tonight we'll stick with Shlomo and Victoria because, you know, folk tales evolve. But indeed, Della and Jim.
It's Delia.
Delia and Jim?
Delia.
Delia and Jim.
Like the Bromberg song, Delia.
Between Dave and Maura Carolyn, we've got it. And so I want to also say a quick Shabbat Shalom to Rich and to Jules and Ruth and Taco. And Shabbat Shalom to, I'm totally curious who the Sky Network band is. But Shabbat Shalom to you. And Shabbat Shalom to Eileen and the Goldberg Albertses and the Takeifs and other people whose names I can't see. The Semanskys are here and Shelley and Warren and Maura and Norm, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's here on all of the different platforms, and Shabbat Shalom to Len and Steph and David, and Shabbat Shalom to Dan. And it is just so awesome to be here. And if there's someone who I missed, I so apologize. If someone else can see names in that chat that I can't just shout them out. But so we know what her plan was. But what was Shlomo's plan? Shlomo also, I mean, Victoria had done so many amazing things for him over this past year as they were struggling, really making everything work together as he took on second and third and fourth jobs, really keeping everything together. And yes, she was taking on her own second and third and fourth jobs, but somehow it just seemed like as deep as he sunk into just thinking that things could not go the way they needed to go, she just kept this positive attitude, and just he needed to do something to make this holiday special. One thing you need to know about Victoria is that she had beautiful long hair, gorgeous. Like imagine Marsha Brady brushing her hair 89, 90, 91, 92. This is me playing my Gen X card, not my millennial card, by the way. No, anyway. Right, the beautiful long hair, brushing it every single night. And she just always kept it so beautiful. And he knew, Shmuley knew, that this was a year when, you know, there had been many beautiful things that she had passed and seen in the windows of shops, and that she hadn't, you know, little extravagance that she would have in other years purchased and adorned her beautiful hair with, that he knew she went without this year. And he knew that she had been eyeing this particular comb, this gorgeous comb that was also a clip, and you could turn it inside out, and it did like those 8 different things. You could make the bun and the twirl, those things. Oh, Henry said that, those things. No, and he knew that would brighten Victoria's holiday, and how, but how would he afford it? How would he make it work? How would he give back in order to show how much everything she'd done this year meant to him? And so he sat and he wondered. He closed his eyes and he opened his ears, trying to hear that still small voice of the divine who might help him to discern his path. I think he turned to the Shema.
So, Rabbi Alanna, the Shema is about love, and the Ahavta is about teaching children and paying gifts forward. And in what Mora Adam has taught his class, and thinking about people in my life who have given me a gift and encouraged me to pay forward, I'm mindful of my parents, because they taught me to love, and they taught me unconditional love, which in turn has given me the the power to pay that forward to my husband, my children, and now my granddaughter, and to teach them love. So with that, if you would join me in the Shema on page. This is our Shema?
The Shema is on
It's
page
on
16. And so we'll sing
There
the
we
Shema
go.
together, and we'll chant the first paragraph of Ve'ahavta, and then as we
Yeah.
go silent for those middle paragraphs, we'll share another kavanah of gratitude, this one from Drew Rothman. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha ub'chol nafshecha
ובכל מיותיך היו הדברים האלה
אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם ושיתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לשותפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Take it away, Drew.
I would I would like to thank my mom for showing me new foods, and that taught me to try new things, and I have tried to show my siblings new things. I'd like to thank my third grade teacher, Mrs. Nishka, getting me back into reading. And I passed this on by telling my friends about books that I liked, and they usually like the books that I recommend them. I would like to thank my mom again for helping me out with like Lego sets, and that inspired me to go on and make some silly stop motion videos, and I passed that on to YouTube, so I pass that on to anyone who sees those. And finally, I would like to thank my swim coaches for showing me the technique, so I can, and I have shown that to younger kids also who also want to swim. Thank you. Goodbye.
Adonai Elohechem Amen. Mi chamocha. 22. Go ahead. Turn to the facing page, page 23, and know that one of the greatest gifts that anyone can give to us is that feeling that everything's going to be all right, that sukkah of peace that we imagine being spread over us every night. We do that for one another when we make each other feel safe, whether that's a safe space in a classroom to explore and learn and make mistakes and grow from them, whether it's a coach who teaches us to push ourselves, whether it's a friend who you know you can always go to. We create that sukkah, that sukkat shalom, that shelter of peace for one another. And there's no greater gift that one person can do for another than let us know, let us really believe in our hearts that everything is going to be all right. And what an amazing one to be able to pay forward. Page 23, Hashki Venu.
Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Amidah Makein Nulechai Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Amidah Makein. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Yeah. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright now. Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Amidah Makein. Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Amidah Makein Nulechai. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright.
And that gift that everything was going to be all right, that was that thing that Shmuley knew that Victoria had given him that year, and Victoria knew that Shmuley had given her. And as she realized that gift, the most important gift of all, had been given to her, she said, you know what? I know how I'm going to buy that gold pocket watch chain. I'm going to sell my hair. I'm going to sell it and make money to be able to afford that chain. You know, I love my hair. I've prized myself on these gorgeous, gorgeous locks, but you know what? Hair grows back. It's okay. I'm going to do this. So she went into town and she sold her beautiful hair. And she got and exchanged the money to go to the jeweler and purchase a beautiful golden pocket watch chain to give to her beloved Shmuley. And as she walked back to their house with that chain in her pocket, literally feeling a weight lifted off her shoulders. Also metaphorically too. She knew that it was a hard choice, but she'd made the right choice. Shmuley was also in town. But at the other end of town. And he had been walking from shop to shop, and finally he found that shop with the beautiful comb, that beautiful hair comb with the twist and the thing, and you could make the bun and the twists, and yeah, that one. And he found out how much it cost. He took out his pocket watch. And he turned it over in his hand and he said, you know, I know what I'm going to do to be able to pay for this beautiful hair comb. Hold this for me. Hold it under Shmuley and I'll be right back. And he walked next door and he sold his pocket watch to an antiques dealer who he knew had been eyeing it and had appraised it for him actually a couple of months earlier. And he sold his pocket watch and he said, you know what? This watch has been in my family for a very long time, and someday we're going to be okay. And I will buy a new pocket watch and I'll be sure to pass that one down and have that one stay in my family for just as long moving forward. But right now I have the love in my heart and the memories and the stories of all the people who own this pocket watch before me, and that'll be enough. So he took the money from the sale of the pocket watch and he walked back to the person who was selling the hair comb and he said, here, I'm here to purchase the comb. And so he bought it, he had it wrapped nicely, and he walked back to their house with a slightly lighter pocket, but a brighter smile on his face, ready to present this gift to Victoria. And as he prepared to walk through that door, he knew that it was a hard decision, but he had made the correct one. And so we'll pause here in our story again. As we prepare for our silent Amidah, we rise in spirit or in body as our Amidah begins on page 29, and a slightly more traditional version with more liturgy is on page 70 or in whatever Siddur you have with you. And Mora Adam is going to tell us what we're going to do if we want to take a non-tefillah route through the Amidah. Adam, as we prepare to rise in spirit or in body for the Amidah.
So I invite everybody to practice what our teens have been doing, to think of a person or people who've had an effect on your life, perhaps put their name and your relationship to them in the chat, or just hold those in your hearts.
Oh,
and
see, I even have a Mentimeter presentation, a Mentimeter question prepared so that everyone can see one another's answers.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So in addition to giving public thanks to that person and their relationship in your life, think of one value that they have taught you. And if you can, briefly, perhaps one short sentence about how you're going to carry that forward.
And so during our silent Amidah, you'll go to www.menti.com and use that code at the top of your page. And together we will see posted who has those people who've impacted you and grown you, who they are, who they've been to us, and how we've given back those gifts in the world. Our silent Amidah will come out of our Amidah first with the words, the gratitude of Ray Taketh, and then with Oseh Shalom, but take a few minutes for silent prayer. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha.
I'm going to change the order up and go with Oseh Shalom first, so that we can all hear, so we can all sing Oseh Shalom as we watch these awesome responses come in. And then we'll hear from Ray. These are all so amazing. Hope we all take a second to read all of these amazing, amazing things. And we'll share them again maybe at the end of the service. so that we can all, and maybe a few more will be added by then. One with the cord. My cord, we need to plug it in. But for now, we'll pause here as we hear from Ray Taketh.
Hi, my name is Ray, and first I want to say thank you to my parents for pushing me out of my comfort zone and signing me up for swim team at Fort Washington Swim Club that one summer 6 years ago. Since that first day I jumped into the pool, swimming has been such a huge part of my life. The sport has been quite a challenge for me, but I know for 100% without the tears that were shed, I wouldn't be who I am today. Swimming has taught me the irreplaceable values of perseverance and grit. I'll try to give it back by making these values a part of my everyday life and passing them on to friends and family. Second, I want to say thank you to my grandparents for telling me inspiring and heartfelt stories that have taught me the values of importance of family and what it means to be Jewish. A couple months ago, a distant cousin sent my grandma a video that was taken at his bar mitzvah back when my grandma was my age. As she showed it to me, she pointed at herself as a young teenage girl and my great-grandparents and aunts and uncles who I never got the chance to meet. This got us to talking about all these people and how special they were. I think that learning about my past and who my ancestors were is such an important part in finding out who I'm going to be. I will try to give back what my family has taught me by passing on these memories and sharing these stories with my future. Next, thank you to the strangers that smile at me when we pass for making me feel special and teaching me the value of kindness. If I'm having a bad day, a simple nod or smile from anyone can turn my day into a great one. These small acts of kindness that require such little effort make such a big difference. I give it back and will continue to give it back by being kind to strangers and my friends and family as well. Finally, I want to say thank you to my friends for teaching me to live in the moment and appreciate the little things in life. I'll always remember one particular day my friend Claire came over after school. We'd come upon a joke on Instagram where you were supposed to replace the vowels in your name with the phrase "oob." We then proceeded to do just that with each other's names. We laughed that afternoon until we were gasping for air, our stomachs hurt, and there were tears streaming down our cheeks. Along with the precious memory of that day, we came out of this with nicknames for each other that would always bring us back to that little moment in time. I will give back what I learned from this moment and from Claire by making sure that my loved ones, along with my friends, always know I will be there to make more irreplaceable memories with them.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray. I have a question, everybody. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can someone unmute and tell me whether or not you can hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you. Ooh.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Can hear you,
Wow, this webcam has a microphone in it.
but it's somewhat muffled.
It is somewhat muffled.
Yeah, you're
How
distant.
muffled we talking?
It's not so much that it's muffled, but that it's distant.
Distant sounding, yeah.
Distant is right. It's not muffled so much as it's distant.
All right,
Yes.
so you know what? We're gonna imagine that we're not distant. All right, here we go. Here. Less distant?
Yeah, much better.
Oh, there we go. We're still learning exactly how long the battery life is on all of our technology. So good things to learn. Good thing to learn, the wireless microphones, the battery life is not the length of Tot Shabbat plus family service. Just in case anyone's keeping track.
Okay.
So, thank you so much, Ray. That was beautiful. And so, Shmuley and Victoria walked back into their house. Shmuley walked in the front door with the comb in this beautiful box, ready to present it to Victoria. And Victoria walked in the back door with the beautiful pocket watch chain in one of those lovely necklace boxes, the velvet boxes, you know, you get from the jewelry store, and just both of them beaming with pride and ready, because both of them, their hearts were so filled with love for the other, because they had just been each other's rocks for this past year. And this holiday, by the way, of course, was their anniversary. And they knew that they had each given something of themselves in order to make it so special for the other. And so as Shmuley walked into the living room again from the front door entrance, and Victoria walked into the living room from the back door entrance, and they saw one another for the first time, Shmuley seeing Victoria with short hair and a jewelry box in her hand, and Victoria seeing Shmuley with a hair comb and no bulge in his pocket where the watch usually was. Both of them looked down at the package in their hands and started laughing. And they laughed, and they laughed, and they laughed. And they put the boxes down, and they gave each other a big hug, because in that moment they realized that everything was going to be all right. It wasn't about hair, and it wasn't about things that had been passed down. It wasn't about making another person feel special by buying them a special gift. It was about that thing that you can't even put words to. That thing that you feel when you pass forward a gift that someone else has given to you. That time when you hear words come out of your mouth that have been taught to you so long ago by a parent or a teacher or a friend. When you realize you've done something for someone else that someone had done for you long ago. Beyond gold, silver, rubies, combs, pocket watch chains. The gift of passing on a gift given to you is the most precious gift of all. It's a gift that each of our Prozdor teens has given to us. It's a gift that we've given to one another today by sharing how we have passed on the gifts given to us to others. It's the gift of knowing that we are part of a community, a family who loves and cares about each other, who comes together for davening every single week on Shabbat from our own living rooms, halfway across the country and halfway across a county from one another, because we know that other people in our community are going to log in at the same time. It's that gift of being together and knowing that we have each other's backs. It's that same gift that allows us, when we read this week's Parsha, Parshat Bahar, that after we cultivate our fields for 6 years, and in the 7th year, we're supposed to let it lie fallow. It's that gift of trust that in that 7th year, when we're not cultivating new crops, that there will be enough to go around, because we are part of a community that believes in caring for one another and sharing and living with integrity, not taking more than we need for ourselves so that there is enough to go around for those whose fields might not naturally yield as much. It's that gift that we give to one another when we go out on the street or when we meet up at a socially distanced event, and we trust that everyone who's there has been honest in their answering of that survey that everyone had to fill out in order to be there that day, because that's what it means to live in community and to trust one another and be together. And so I want to thank our Prozdor class for reminding us of those incredible gifts, for paying it forward in all the ways that they have, and for each of us paying it forward in the ways that we have as we continue to give gifts to one another. Another gift that we can give to one another is a gift of presence. Not presence like with a TS, but presence like with a CE. Being present for one another in moments when we're feeling broken, when we're feeling sick or tired, in need of healing of body, of mind, of spirit. And so we're going to sing our Mishaberach L'Cholim, our prayer for healing and wholeness. And as we name the names of those in our community who we are holding for healing, we read those names not because reading a name makes them more prayed for, but because reading a name makes people know that they're being thought of, that someone else is holding their need for healing with them, that they're not going through their moment alone. And what an incredible way to pay it forward. And so our Misha Berach L'Cholim. And I want to thank Nora Barber for running to my office to get the sheet because I totally left it there. And so this evening, our prayer for healing and wholeness goes to all the people who were about to write down in the chat, and also to Andrea Abrams Herbert, James Albert, Marcia Applebaum, Roberta Archibald, Arden and Barry Bell, and Carol Mueller Bell, Rabbi Deborah Bowen, Bill Conrad, Robin Kupo, Rich Davis, Frankie Deaver, Faye Fishman, Brian and Joan Flaherty, Eric Gershman, Jonathan Giannini, George and Gail Blanford, Hal Goodman, Talia Goddison, Barbara Granger, Ed Grimes, Alberta Hall, Cordula Hamish, Kava Hurley, Michelle Kalish, Sharon Cass, Beverly and Howard Kaufman, and Fran Kaufman, Elsie Lieberstein, Len McEwen, Robert Mueller, Anthony Nero, Lisa Nicholson, Riley and Thomas Pablo, Stan Pollock, Abby Rosenberg, Mike Rosenberg, Shelley Sanders, Willie Schneer, Bertha Schwartz, Margaret Steiber, Elliot Suter, Lynn Van Engel, Isabel Vita, Stan Wexstein, Billy Weitzman, Karen Wells, Grace Zangwill, Eileen Zass, Doug Proudman, Rob Johnson, I'm about to get distant again, sorry. Sue Greco, all of those suffering from COVID-19.
It's not too bad.
Sue Bloom, Lee Steiger. Hold on, I can totally do it. There we go.
Lee Steiger, Larry and Susan Abrams, and all of those suffering from COVID-19, and Dorothy Berlin. Our Misha Berach L'Cholim. Go ahead, Dave.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikol HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikol HaBracha. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Also thinking of Eric Griffin Shelley, Debbie Hoffman, Rosine Paul, Michelle Fields, Jean Horowitz, Bobby Olchin, and Jenna Young, and David Zangwill. There are names in so many places. So I'm wondering who on Zoom has a Kiddush cup. I'm thinking that Maura Carolyn has one. Are you on Zoom? Oh, who has a Kiddush cup? Oh, Maura Norm and the Semanskis have a Kiddush cup. So I am going to spotlight you guys as we turn to Kiddush together. Oh, they're getting their Kiddush cup. And so I want to invite, and so as they're all getting their Kiddush cups, I want to invite anyone who is celebrating something exciting. Ooh, there are fireworks. Wow. Shabbat. Anyone who's celebrating something exciting, perhaps so exciting that they would be setting off fireworks right next to Or Hadash. Very convenient to type it into the chat, either in YouTube or or on Zoom so that we can raise our glass in l'chaim to you. And we'll also raise our glass in just a second to all of those who are celebrating birthdays this month. But, and if the fireworks start up again, I will totally point my camera at them so that you can see them too, because it was really, really cool and unexpected. So, but let's turn on over to Maura Norm and to Jillian to lead us in the Kiddush. And you'll have to do rock, paper, scissors for which of you unmutes for which part. Maybe one of you can do Baruch Goffin and the other one can do the other part. Yeah.
Chad Chaim Shalosh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho b'yava uvratzon Inchilanu zikaron l'maseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim Yanu v'acharta yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shah What kodecha v'yava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashkabat. L'chaim.
And thank you, Jillian and Norm. And Mazel Tov, a shout out Mazel Tov to Shelley and Warren, who are visiting their distant grandkids this week. Heading to visit for the first time since the pandemic. Mazel Tov, that's such an exciting thing to shout out. All right, I'm gonna put
the spotlight back on Maura Barbara, who is going to wish a big Mazel Tov to another group of people, our May birthdays.
Yeah, so Mazel Tov.
But and Maura Barbara, you are
going to have to stand up and take one step closer. There you go.
Okay. All right. So happy birthday to, drum roll please, Hill Rosenberg, Aliza Green, Barb Altman, Wendy Elliott Vanderveer, Elias Hawthorne and Bill Hawthorne, Douglas Smithman, Doug. Sorry about that.
So formal.
Sorry, yeah, really. Rabbi Maurice Harris, Ira McLaughlin, Eileen Jaffe, Steve Lieberstein, and Max Markovitz. And then birthdays coming up later in the month, we have Ephraim Leventhal, Betsy Isis, Elliot Lavenberg, Esther Citron, Ted Apple, Judy Marlowe, Stephen Starr, Janet Carp, Adair Waxman, Emma Farris Hurley, Jeff Jarvis, Serge Shapiro, Dave Freifelder, Michelle Kalish, Jonathan Wertzman, Darcy Lindy, Fred Ritterman, Tina Kersner, Tessa Citron, Nancy Scheck, Louise DeSimone, Bill Quigley, Alex Narenstein, Benjamin Jones, Micah Cooper Smith, Kate Love, and Kason Cooper Smith.
Yeah.
So happy birthday.
And Norm mentions that his wife Linda's birthday is also coming up.
Happy birthday, Linda.
So happy birthday to all of our awesome May birthdays, and take it away, Dave.
Ayom yom
take all of that excitement and energy of birthdays and mazel tovs and l'chaims and rise in body or in spirit for Aleinu, which is on page 34 in our Sidur, if you've got one, or whatever page you have in whatever Sidur you are using tonight. We're using our youth Sidur, Kol HaNeshama, Kol HaNoar, because when we take that energy that we have from being grateful for all the gifts that have been given to us, and that energy and excitement in celebrating one another's birthdays and simchas with them, we get to glimpse that world that on Bayom Hahu, on that day, will be one. And the name of the Holy One will be one, because the name of all will be in harmony. Aleinu, page 34. Aleinu l'shavech la'adon ha'kol, la'teit k'tuba le'otzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah ha'temet, v'hayom la'ata v'tofeinu, v'anam v'gorim, u'mikshachim v'odim, livnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. We can be seated. We turn in our Sidur to page 36 for Mourner's Kaddish. We also turn in our hearts and our memories to those whom we've loved and lost. Those who we've lost in recent days. Louis Quate, father of Paul Quate, and Sidria Quate, father-in-law of Liz Hemmer Quate, uncle of Eileen Cooper Smith, who passed away earlier this week. His funeral was on Tuesday, and so the Quate family is sitting Shiva, and the Cooper Smith family is joining them in remembering Louis. And Vivian Green, mother of Eliza Green, grandmother of Ginevra and Zach Rice, and longtime loving friend to Jay Zemmel. We're in a period of Shloshim, the month following her passing, as well as that of Joseph Edelstein, brother-in-law of Toby Mackler and Steve Fisher, and also marking the Yortzites of Ken Rosenberg, husband of Shelley Rosenberg, and Don Wolf, father of Carolyn Savitsky, and of Murray Goldberg, father of Amy Goldberg Alberts. I want to put a special emphasis on that Yortzeit, that anniversary of the passing of Don Wolf. This is Don's first Yortzeit, and so we all hold Carolyn as she reaches this first anniversary following her father's death. And one of the things that I think is so beautiful about the tradition of saying Kaddish at the end of our service is it calls to mind sometimes relatives whose names we have been gifted, along with traits that those who knew them and loved them hoped to see us cultivate in ourselves as we bear their name in the next generation, and also allows us to call to mind and call to heart people who we personally knew and loved, who gave us so many gifts, whose not only memories we hold, but whose teachings we hold, and whose teachings we find ourselves teaching in the world. So I want to invite mourners and those observing the Yortzeit to rise in spirit or in body for Kaddish, along with all those whose tradition it is to rise for Kaddish, and also those who are remembering someone who taught them or gave them something special. And I want to invite you to share their names in the chat as well, or perhaps share them on the Menti. As together we say the Mourner's Kaddish, page 36. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemech Rabba, ve'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei v'chol Beit Yisrael,
ba'adala ubizman kariv imru, amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yisbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yikomam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh
Aled, Yala, Made, Kusha,
Brechu.
le'ela
Kol Birchata, Shivata, Ushpata, Nechmata,
da'amiran
Yama, Imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei
Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya,
L'chaim
Ayim,
aleinu
Aleinu,
ve'ol
Yako Yisrael, Imru. Amen.
Osei
Says
shalom
Shalom
v'roma.
Yiramav, Huya, says
Shalom.
Shalom, Aleinu, Yako Yisrael.
Kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing for all of us.
Amen.
I just want to share.
I just want to share very briefly that we're also saying, we're also observing the Yortzeit with Norm of both his mother and his father-in-law this week, as well as the passing this week of a friend, Dr. Norman Kurtzman. So thank you so much for saying that as well, and Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
And so, before we conclude our service, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, to our Prozdor students for sharing their deep Torah of gratitude and passing along the lessons that they've learned. Maura, Barbara, and I were both struck by how, actually, I think all three of our teams at some point thanked someone that they named as either a stranger or an anonymous stranger. I think it was all three of them. I know it was definitely Ray and Sherry, but I think Drew as well. Because we never know when we are going to do something for someone else that changes the course of their life or that has an impact on them. Those three anonymous strangers don't know, but the three people who shared the gift that they gave them know. And so I wanted to lift that up. I want to also thank everyone for bearing with us as we had a few tech glitches tonight and being present on 3 platforms at once, on Zoom, on YouTube, and also here, because of course, Dan Weisman is here, as well as our VIP, our very, very injured person who is getting over a concussion, and so having a little bit less screen time. And I just want to make a couple of messages, a couple of announcements. There is no Smile School this Sunday. It is Mother's Day. A big shout out to all of the mothers in our community and all of the people who celebrate those mothers. There's no Smile on Sunday. On Sunday night, not this one, but the next one, so that's the 16th. And then Monday night, the 17th, we are marking Erev Shavuot. The first night is our Erev Shavuot night of study that is going to, I can't speak tonight, let's try that again. Our Erev Shavuot night of study, which in the first hour will look at the theme of revelation, of receiving the 10 Commandments or Torah at Mount Sinai through the lens of 3 theologians. I'll be teaching, Marty Jacobs will be teaching, and Maurice Harris will be teaching. And then for the second hour, we're going to look at that theme of revelation through the arts. Andrea Jacobs and I will be doing a session on receiving revelation through song, music, chant, and nigun at the foot of Mount Sinai. And Suzanne Castor will be leading a session on collaging revelation, using both paper and online tools to unpack the theme of revelation. So for the first hour will be a little more intellectual, and for the second hour will be a little more artistic. And then the second night of Erev Shavuot, right, Erev Day 2, we're joining with folks from across the Boston Kehila and across the entire Philadelphia area for Torah in Living Color, co-sponsored by Jews in All Hues. a night of study of Shavuot centering the voices of Jews of color, especially Jews of color in the arts. We know that that folks in the arts, whether the culinary arts, the visual arts, comedians, performers, singers, songwriters, have been especially hard hit during the pandemic. And so we are raising it up, both raising up the Torah of folks in the arts and also the Torah of Jews of color as we partner with Jews in all hues for this wonderful event. So we hope that folks of all ages and stages will come learn from us or learn with us for both of these events. It's going to be awesome. And also, as Shavuot is coming, this is our last couple of weeks, our last week and a half to bring grain to the temple. Our food drive ends on Erev Shavuot. So before Sunday the 16th, bring your rice and your quinoa and your flour and your mac and cheese and all kinds of grains to the synagogue so that we can, in one drop-off, drop them off, not a rolling drop-off with several times back and forth in Mora Barbara's car because people keep dropping it off after Shavuot. So the food drive ends on May 16th. So come and bring your grains to the temple during this period of the Omer. Speaking of which, let's count the Omer. Today we counted, this past day we counted 40 days. So you know what that means. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer hayom 40 v'asar yom shehem chamisha shavuot v'shisha yamim la'omer. Today is, I totally just did this in Hebrew, I can do it in English, 41 days, which is 5 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. And so we are getting there because once we hit 7 weeks, that's Shavuot. And so we're gonna sing us, we're gonna have Dave sing us out. I'm gonna put our Mentimeter poll back up so people can see those words of gratitude that have been coming in. And so from all of us on all of our platforms, in all of our rooms, in all of our places, Shabbat Shalom. Oh.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right.